Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and it's another late night picking session for me. Everybody seems to be in bed now, so that's good. What I have in the vise is, and I love this little symbol, looks like sort of an industrial scene on a key, and this is an Ezcurra DS15. Don't really know what the DS15 really means, but this lock came from Tallan Pick, incredibly talented picker, extraordinary with Dimple locks, and he said this was a level 5. I've had a lot of fun with this one, I have to say. If you look at the key, it's actually the first Dimple lock I've picked with one of those kind of dual-sided double row of pins, but actually these are passive. These are just key control pins, and hopefully if I unlock it, you'll see that these are little passive pins. This is the actual bitting, so it's a 6-pin Dimple lock. You just got to be careful not to tamper with these too much, just in case you do push them too high, and they might stop the core turning, but I haven't had too much of a problem with them so far. Works beautifully. The only thing which is different to the way it would normally come is I've taken off this circlip from the back so that I can gut it a little quicker. If you know me in circlips, you'll certainly know that this is a blessing for the viewer, because I am just terrible at doing this kind of thing. And this is a weird circlip, right? What a thing. Okay, so let's have a go. I'll see if we can get the camera angle right for you. So using a modified Honest Dong Shi pick. Really like these picks, and just some standard Chinese head wrench. Moderate tension. It's an old used lock, so you've got to use a bit of tension on this one. I hope this is a good enough angle for you. Might just move it a tiny bit so that you don't get to see just my entire hand in shot. I'll try to make it a bit more entertaining. You can see quite well down the keyway there anyway. Might give you a bit of autofocus lock. And let's just go for it. So 1, 2, 3's binding. So 1, 2, 3's binding. Little click there. Just tap 2, 1, 2 little click, 1, 2, 3, and 5 little click. Nothing on 6. Going along the pin stack again. 1, 2. No movement on 3, 4, 5. And tiniest click on 6. Back down the stack. 2, 3, 4. Little click on 5. 1, 2, 3. Nothing on 4. Nothing on 6. Lighten the tension. Go up again. So 1, 2, 3, little movement there, back to 1, little movement again. Oh, and we're open. There we go. So that was one of the fastest picks I've done on this one, actually. Nothing that might give you the impression that it was easy. I don't think it was. Genuinely, I don't think it was an easy pick. So at least for me, I would say that it's an intermediate pick. I wouldn't say it's a difficult pick, but certainly it wasn't a super easy pick for me to learn, but it was enjoyable to learn. I think that is the whole point about lockpicking, isn't it? If you're not enjoying it, then why are you doing it? So I'm just going to reset that background. There we go, and let's take off that autofocus and then try and do a gutting for you. Try and do it as quickly as I can. Luckily that circlip's out of the way, so we won't have to fight against it too much. Try and keep it in shot. I don't know why. It's not like I'm going to defraud you, but some people can get a bit uppity about this kind of stuff. Put that there, and let's just move the whole camera down. And get my pinning tray out. There we go. So here's the lock. I've got a follower just nearby. Luckily I've got a key with this one, so I don't need to worry too much. just make sure with this one that there's a little hole. Can you see that little hole there at the tailpiece? I mean, that's just annoying, isn't it? So you've got to make sure that that is nicely out of the way. And then I don't need a shim on this one, but what's going to happen is some little pins might fall out at the bottom, the key control pins. So let's just see if we can slide this out. Notice that this is a very thin, small follower. This is one I normally use for padlocks. This is a standard lock I'd use for these Euro cylinders. It's that follower, sorry, and yeah, it's a lot bigger. So I was very surprised. If you look how thick the wall of the core is, it's really thick, isn't it? Look at that. And I just haven't seen anything like it. Maybe this is standard for this block brand. I don't know. Oh. Shouldn't have done that, should I? Okay, well, you know, we'll worry about what order the pins were in, but let's just put these into some slots. I can't believe I did that. I think actually I'm getting it about right because I have gutted this before and I know roughly what the pins look like, but I was going to show you the other side. It shows how late it is. I'm tired and I should be in bed. That pin there has just come out of this slot. When the right key's in place, those pins are flush. If you move the key out, so pretend that that isn't the right key now, you can see that we actually have some pins which just stick up. Why is that important? Well, there'll be a groove inside of this somewhere, which means that those pins will dig in and stop it from turning. Or at least stop the key from going into the lock itself. So I can just tip those out here. It's only important that they go in those positions. You don't need to pick them. Okay, so that was semi-disastrous, but not utterly disastrous. Let's just see what the pins are inside. Pin 1. And what's interesting, I found, and why this one was relatively difficult to pick, was that if you look, these are ever so slightly beveled. You need to pick them, I find, almost twice. You sort of need to set it and then sort of set it again. At least that's my experience picking it, and this is strange. This is very strange. This is an actual key pin in my opinion. This was in the lock when I got it, so whether this is sort of something they do for this lock brand, and they recycle key pins as a small driver pin, I don't know. Seems unlikely to me. So this is possibly not standard, or it's been modified slightly, or somebody's lost a driver pin and used a spare key pin in its place. I don't know, but it does just act like a standard pin anyway, so I don't think it really changes the difficulty of the pick. Another beveled pin, hopefully you can see that. Turn that right around. Another spring. These springs are good actually, they're very long. Very long. I wonder whether you could actually use some kind of over lifting attack on this lock. Possibly, maybe not. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking. And again, another sort of beveled pin there. Because the beveling is quite long, it just, you know, it's an odd pin. I don't know whether it's actually machine bevel or bevel through wear. Is that even a thing? I don't even know. Might just leave that spring in for now so I don't end up busting it. And here's another one. I think that beveling is intentional. I'm gonna call it. Hold on, this isn't 6-pin, is it? It's a 5-pin lock. I'm just like the worst at. Or is it? No, there is a 6th pin. So we should be like, go home, noob. So it seems that I've lost a key pin somewhere. Ah, here it is. Well, I wouldn't say it was the worst gutting in the world, but it wasn't the prettiest, was it? But there you go. That is the pins inside this wonderful lock. This Ezcurra DS15. You see that we've got beveled drivers, apart from one weird one, which is definitely a key pin in my opinion, and just standard key pins. And that's about it, really. It's a really fun lock to pick, so thank you, Tallan Pick, for sending that to me. I really enjoyed picking it. I hope you enjoyed watching me fail to gut it. You've got to find the comedy value, guys. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.